heart raced. The pillow was wet with tears. She knew it wasn't just a dream. He was trying to reach her. The following day, as the police prepared to write to Wrightport, an unexpected visitor came to the station. He was a man in his late 30s. His name was Elijah Thomas. He walked with a limp and had burn scars on one hand. He looked rough, like someone who had seen war. "I heard a man went missing at Sunlight Guest House," he said. Sergeant Benson looked up. "And who are you?" Elijah sat down. "I was one of their guests. 6 years ago." Benson's eyes widened. "What?" "They almost got me. Same way. I was drugged. I woke up half naked in the bush 3 miles away. I went to the police back then, but the report disappeared. Nobody believed me." Benson leaned forward. "Do you have proof?" Elijah raised his sleeve and showed a tattoo of room 4 he had burned into his arm after surviving. "I swore I'd never forget the room they tried to kill me in." Then he pulled out an old, faded photo. It was of the food menu in the room, the same one Michael had shown Linda on video. Benson stood up immediately. The night after the police visited, the staff of Sunlight Guest House were unusually quiet. Even Kenny, the widow's son, who was always loud and boastful, kept to himself. The fear of exposure hung in the air like thick smoke. But no one was more unsettled than Ruth, the young cleaner. She had joined the hotel staff only 8 months ago. Back then, she was jobless, hungry, and desperate. Mama Grace had offered her a place to stay, food to eat, and a stable job. But she hadn't known that the job would come with blood on her hands. They told her it was just cleansing rituals and that the guests were chosen. But she had cleaned up after those rituals, and what she had seen were not spiritual sacrifices, they were murders. And now, that man, the one who had come in smiling and showing his wife the hotel room on video call, was gone forever. Ruth had scrubbed his blood off the wall. She had seen the broken glasses left on the bedside table before Kenny grabbed them and crushed them. That night, in her tiny room behind the kitchen, she sat on her bed and whispered, "God, please forgive me." A cold wind blew through the closed window. Then, a whisper. "Ruth, Ruth." She looked around, heart pounding. "Help me." She shot up from bed and ran out of the room barefoot, bumping into the cook in the hallway. "You day mad," the cook barked. I thought I heard something," Ruth stammered, shaking. She couldn't sleep again that night. The ghost of the man Michael James was now whispering her name. Back in her home, Linda wasn't eating. She hadn't bathed. The children were beginning to notice. Her heart felt as if it had stopped beating the night her husband vanished. Each morning, she still sent him a message, "Good morning, my love. Wherever you are, I know you can hear me. Please come home." Her messages never delivered. That night, after putting the kids to sleep, she fell into a restless nap. The moment her eyes shut, she found herself walking in a dimly lit hallway. The walls were cracked. The carpet smelled of blood. She turned a corner and entered a room. There, standing by the bed, was her husband. His face was pale. His shirt was torn. But his eyes were clear. "Linda," he said. She rushed to him, crying. "Where are you?" "What happened?" He held her shoulders and looked her in the eyes. "Room 4. I was there." "The guest house. The name you saw was right. They killed me, but I need justice. I can't rest." Then he vanished. She woke up screaming. The next morning, Linda went back to the police station. She met Sergeant Benson again. They did it. "He told me in my dream. They killed him in room 4, she said, breathless. Benson, though experienced, had heard enough strange cases to know when something was real. At that moment, the station's front door opened. Elijah returned. "My name is Elijah Thomas," he said. "I know that guest house." I nearly died there 6 years ago." Linda was shocked. He continued, "I stayed in that same room. Room 4. I woke up tied to a chair. There were masked men, candles, and blood. I escaped through the window when the power went out. I reported it, but nothing was done." He showed her an old food menu. It was a blurry paper of a food menu Sunlight guest house. Linda gasped. "That's the same menu my husband showed me on video call before he was killed." Benson sat up straight. This was no longer coincidence. It was time to act. That night, Ruth the cleaner couldn't bear the guilt anymore. She stayed back after cleaning and sneaked into the small office where the SectV system was located. The system had been wiped clean, but she knew something others didn't. She had secretly installed a tiny backup camera months ago, hidden behind a wall clock, to protect herself. It stored the last 48 hours on a USB stick. She took the stick and, after much hesitation, walked to the police station, hiding it inside a basket of oranges. When she reached the gate, she dropped the bag just outside and quickly walked away. Then a police officer carried it and brought it to Benson. Inside was the proof they needed. Benson called his team, Officer Chucks, Corporal Musa, and 2 detectives from the homicide unit. They reviewed the footage. Though grainy, it was horrifying. It showed masked men entering room 4. A man screams. The widow's son, Kenny, was seen clearly dragging a bloodied bag through the hallway. Mama Grace stood outside the room, chanting something dark. Ruth's face was also seen in the background, shaking, crying, cleaning up the blood. Benson sat back and whispered, "My God." The next day at 5 a.m., they prepared a raid. Police vans rolled up to Sunlight Guest House. They surrounded the compound silently. Inside, Mama Grace was already awake, her spiritual beads in hand. She looked up as the power went out. The spirits whispered, "They are here." Police burst in. Guests were removed and questioned. Rooms were searched. The kitchen, the backyard, and then room 4. There, the floorboards had been replaced, but blood residue was still in the cracks. In the store, they found an old suitcase containing men's wallets, ID cards, and even Michael's torn shirt. Kenny tried to run but was caught behind the fence. Mama Grace stood quietly, chanting under her breath. But when Benson tried to cuff her, she screamed, "You fools don't know what you've done. This land is cursed. You think you've saved them. You've only angered them." Then she laughed like thunder. Elijah, who had joined the team, pointed to a spot under the main office. "There used to be a door there," he said. With crowbars, the officers broke through the floor panel and found a hidden trapdoor. It led to a basement of horror. Inside were photos of victims, jars of human remains, spiritual symbols, a foul odor, and evidence of over 20 disappearances. One of the officers vomited. Linda, who had come along, fainted at the sight of her husband's glasses. The holding cell at Delia Police Station was damp and cold. The cement walls were cracked, and the smell of urine and sweat hung heavy in the air. Kenny, son of Mama Grace, sat hunched in the corner, his shirt torn, his dreadlocks dirty with dried blood. 3 other suspects, hotel staff, occupied the cell, but no one sat close to Kenny. He had stopped talking since the raid. He only muttered to himself, sometimes laughed, and often scratched at invisible things on his skin. The officers thought it was shock until one night, at exactly 2 a.m., Kenny screamed and began barking like a dog. "Woof! Woof! Aha! You day bite me! Mama! Snake! Snake day my ear!" He rolled on the floor and slammed his head against the wall. A guard rushed in. "Kenny, what him be this?" Kenny grabbed his own throat. "Don't touch me. The woman in red day hold me. She say, make I confess." He started to chew on his own shirt, eyes rolling. They had to sedate him. But in the observation room, Sergeant Benson shook his head. This boy thinks say he go escape like this. Na strategy, but we go break am. Ruth the cleaner was under protective custody, kept at a safe house owned by the force. Since the day she handed over the sect footage, she had received 3 anonymous threats on her small Nokia phone. You break the oath. Death is coming. She tried to ignore them. But on the 4th night, she woke to find a red feather on her pillow, a symbol of betrayal used in their rituals. Terrified, she ran to the officer assigned to watch her. Please, she begged, let me speak with a pastor. She was taken to a local church, where Pastor Akin prayed for her. That night, Michael appeared to her in a dream. Thank you for trying, he said, but don't stop doing good. Then he also appeared to his wife Linda. Darling, you must finish what you started. Under the staircase in room 4, you'll find something hidden. She woke gasping for breath. The next day, with special permission and escorted by officers, Linda returned to Sunlight Guest House. The place was now locked down. Yellow police tape lined the gate, and an eerie silence filled the compound. Led by Sergeant Benson and Elijah the survivor, they opened room 4 again.